Every empire begins with the same illusion. We've figured money out. This time is different. And every time, they crash into the same truth. No, it's not different. Because money doesn't care about politics, promises, or beautiful speeches. Money has its own rules. Deep, stubborn, and ruthless. These rules aren't written into constitutions. They aren't taught in schools. They reveal themselves during crises. And then are forgotten. Until the next collapse forces us to remember them again. And if you don't know these rules, you'll spend your entire life wondering why the system always feels like it's working against you. That's exactly what we're going to do in this video. We're going to look at the forgotten laws of money. From Rome's debased coins to the digital games of today's central banks. And one thing will become very clear. The game was never designed to be fair. Let's start with the simplest and harshest rule. Gresham's Law. In the 1500s, Thomas Gresham told Queen Elizabeth this: "Bad money drives good money out of circulation." The logic is very simple. If there are two forms of money in the market, one solid, one debased, people are not stupid. They spend the bad money. They hoard the good money. That's exactly what happened in Rome. As the silver content of the denarius was slowly reduced, people set aside the old, pure coins. They paid taxes and debts with the new junk money. The same thing happened in the Middle Ages. Kings clipped coins and reduced their value. People adapted immediately. The lesson is crystal clear. If you cheat with money, people will understand the game before you expect. And once this cycle begins, trust quietly dissolves. But there's a darker side. Tiers law. This time, the rule flips. In a true collapse, good money drives bad money out. Think of Weimar Germany. The moment money became trash, no one wanted to hold marks. Everyone fled to dollars, gold, cigarettes, barter. The same happened in Zimbabwe, in Venezuela, in every hyperinflation in history. Gresham explains slow decay. Thiers explains sudden death. So what lies in between? That's where the Cantillon effect comes in. This law says one thing. Newly created money does not reach everyone equally. It goes first to the state, then to banks, then to large players. By the time it reaches you, prices have already risen. That's why stock markets soar, while wages stand still. That's why markets recovered after 2008. But people didn't feel relief. That's why stimulus money hits your pocket and evaporates at the grocery store. Inflation is not just rising prices. It is a transfer of wealth. And guess which direction it flows? Upward. The painful truth is this. This system doesn't work this way by accident. It works this way by design. And there's one more step to keep you trapped inside. Financial repression. The state is buried in debt. It can't raise taxes. It can't default. So what does it do? It keeps interest rates below inflation. It slowly erodes your savings. And it makes escaping into alternatives harder. You feel yourself getting poorer. But you can't quite explain why. That's what happened after 2008. It happened again in 2020 to 2021. This wasn't an accident. It was a strategy. But the issue isn't just individuals. The Triffin dilemma. If the dollar is the world's money, the US must constantly create dollars. That means running deficits. Consuming more than it produces. In the short term, it creates power. In the long term, it hollows the system out. Being the reserve currency is both a crown and a curse. And when you try to control everything with numbers, Goodhart's law steps in. When a measure becomes a target, it stops measuring reality. 2% inflation. 3% growth. The numbers look good. But life gets more expensive. Debt rises. Fragility increases. In the end, only one thing remains. Debt. At first, it works. Then it works less. And eventually, it only buys time. Rome collapsed this way. France exploded this way. Britain declined this way. And now the same mathematics stand before us. All these laws say one thing. Money is not magic. It follows rules. And perhaps the most painful truth of all. The game was never built for you to win. You are transparent. They are opaque. You earn wages. They get the money first. You hold cash. They hold assets. If you don't know the rules, you always play blind. History doesn't repeat itself. But money obeys its laws. And if you don't understand them, it will hurt you in exactly the same way. If this narrative gave you a new perspective, subscribe. History has already given the answers. I'm just holding the light.